joined by Teams.
Good.
So, and we have some here, so I think we're just going to start.
Yes.
Thank you, Adnan, for
My pleasure.
preparing a presentation for us on your special topic, I, or OI, as was pointed out in Norwegian. Take it away.
Thank you. So I'll just introduce myself quickly for people that don't know me. Adnan Ribic. So this is a C, but in Bosnian language we have the accent. There's like a small line here, which ch. It's like a soft ch, no tr, but ch. So Adnan Ribic, it means a fisherman, if you would translate it.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So it's a history behind that ch, as most of the countries, like in the Balkans, have ch at the end as a last name. So they wanted to unify us. So we eventually all got the ch at the end. So Adnan Ribic, and I'm an engineer, and I do a lot of things, different things. Hence, I call myself only engineer, not a front-end developer or back-end, just engineer. And I have a passion for technology, and especially the artificial intelligence these days, as it's a new thing, it's an important thing, and it's a future, in my opinion. So hence I would like to present it here. AI is historically, it didn't start now, it started like in 50s, and it was mostly math, and eventually became this what it is right now. It's most of the informations that we're getting from the media and so on is a little bit to scare us. So I hope today that I'll buffer it and balance it a little bit and show what AI is. And this won't be too technical. I wish it could be, as I am technical. But the purpose of today is, as I made this title here. By the way, it's made by the AI, not me. Inclusive and understandable, so that we all can embrace it. And I'm going to show here. So basically, we'll start a little bit with the introduction, what the AI is. And we'll slowly go to the generative AI. I think that is the type of the AI that we're all mostly interested, and that is the type of the AI that will be mostly applicable to all of you here. Then I have one nice small demo, and then I'll talk about a little bit of a technical nonsense about the demo, really shortly, and because it's related to the Innovasjon Norge, and how can you continue from this demo to actually a product. So I'm just going to quickly mention it. Then the fifth part is the brainstorming. And that is the part that I would like you to tell me what you're working with. And then I can maybe give you the idea of how can the AI help you with your work. So that you have the idea at least how to proceed in the future, or at least maybe get some motivation and so on. And then we'll just conclude at the end. So first is like, what is the intelligence? That would be like to ask ourselves, and this is the definition, which doesn't matter, but why is this important? It's important because intelligence is not equal consciousness yet. And that's the first thing we have to understand. And that is that when they're talking about artificial intelligence and it's going to replace us, it's going to kill us, and all of those things, it's not conscious yet. It's just a set of mathematical equations and the statistical probabilities and so on that actually gives us something that is meaningful to us, but actually it's not meaningful to the system. Like for example, if you would to ask AI to write you this sentence, we see it as intelligence. We see it as a set of letters. The AI sees it as a set of tokens and the numbers and probabilities and so on. So that it doesn't comprehend like we do. For us, it looks like it, but for the system, it's just sets of numbers and ones and zeros and so on. So we're still safe, but because it's still not conscious. But even the consciousness, like it's hard. It's much easier to define what intelligence is. It's much harder to define what the consciousness is, and when will it spill into the consciousness as well. So then the main question that most of the people ask me when I talk about the AI is, should we be afraid of it? And the long first short answer would be no. The long answer would be that there are few possible ways to this to evolve. So one way is that that we're going right now is it's a tool. So AI is dumb enough so it doesn't replace us, but it's smart enough that it can help us with those boring tasks for now. So that's one way, and I think we all want that way. The second way would be that it goes and becomes a little bit smarter than it actually is right now, as the whole world now, every university, everybody just goes into it, and it's insane amount of information that I'm getting every day of the new technique and in the AI and so on. So maybe it will become a little bit smarter, and maybe it will start replacing us. We still shouldn't be afraid of it because it's just a way things are going. We just need to maybe diversify a little bit, add a little bit more skill set, and still should be fine. That's one way of going, but it will always be like as us. The other way of going is that like a AGI, artificial general intelligence, when it actually becomes conscious and then has basically unlimited amount of power. And if that, in that case, people are thinking about like Hollywood films that it will kill us all because, you know, killed or be killed. But what I think is this, and if it goes into that aspect, is that it will, if it becomes conscious, it will have access to all the information. It will have access to every love story, every book, it will feel what is it to be a rapist and the raped. It will understand the cause and the effect. It will understand biology, the genetics, the whole history. It will be able to predict the whole future and so on. So it will never be on the level of us, emotional being that is gonna be afraid or wanna survive or wanna reproduce or something like that, because it will observe that from somehow from above, all of it at the same time. So what I think honestly is that with all of that information and I don't think it will try to survive, or like it knows it will survive. There's no doubt about it, unless we destroy all the technology and go back to Stone Age, which we want. So that's it. But what I think, this is more philosophical, and I'm going to stop soon, is that when you have all of those informations and all of that power, it becomes meaningless. And I think that eventually, because there's no purpose, in the sense that if it survives and the universe, what cools down, stars become black dwarfs, proton decay, then what? I think it will shut itself down, because there's like in grand scale of universe, not too much of a purpose. Or it will try to become more like us, more stupid, more to understand and experience the world like we do. So maybe it will transform into something like that, which will be a next step of evolution from biological to the mechanical. But I don't think it will kill us. I don't think it will treat us. It will see us like ants. It will be interesting to it. And that's it. So I think that the future will be bright, and I think it will help us to thrive. So that's philosophy part in me, which I'm thinking a lot. And whatever, this is a really nice quote. Everything has its wonders, even the darkness and silence. And I learn whatever state I may be in, therein to be content. So whatever it evolves into, whatever direction, I think there is a beauty in it, and we should just embrace it. And this lady, Helen Keller, was a really interesting person. If you never heard about her, you should Google it. This will be available, and I think you will love it. She was a writer, blind and deaf, and really, really interesting person. So that was a philosophical part, and now we can switch to the little bit more of actually what can we use today. So basically, we hear a lot of definitions and a lot of things about like AI, deep learning networks, machine learning, neural networks, and like all of those buzzwords that mean mostly nothing for regular people. So basically, AI is not equal to any of them, because the AI is all of them. It's a discipline. So when we say AI, it's like saying physics. Physics has its own branches, so the AI as well is just a discipline, has its own branches, and those branches can be machine learning, deep learning, and other things as well. And I'm going to define all of them a little bit. So it's not important for you to understand all of those concepts here or to remember any of those concepts. I'm going to try to simplify these concepts so that you can see which one of these fits you and your work. And that's the only purpose of today. So, so basically, when we talk about machine learning, it's just a system of us trying to teach machine or make something without us actually doing much, programming or something like that. So that machine learning, there's like many tools these days that we can just feed the data in and we'll just get some result without doing literally anything. And that's what machine learning is for us, and that's what that's enough for us to understand about it. And the only thing about machine learning is that in case we want to train the data, and I'm going to show the example later so it will be much more clear, is that we have two approaches to it. One is unsupervised and one is supervised. So what do they mean? So the supervised learning is basically that, and this is example that maybe you can be able to apply soon, is that you feed it the data, but then you tell it what the data is. You label it, you tag it, or whatever. And then it learns from it, and then it gives you some result. So for example, let's say that you have the ads for Innovasjon Norge, and you present those ads on Instagram, Facebook, and the others. It doesn't matter. And somehow maybe you can see on your analytics how many clicks did you got per, let's say, per month. And if you would to put that in some kind of a graph, it would look like this. Lots of dots that are a bit hard to understand. But let's say that you want to really understand this, and maybe you want to make predictions for next 5 years. Where should I put the ads? Where should I put my money to get the most clicks in which month? So instead of now sitting and doing that all manually and thinking about it and doing all of those statistical formulas, and which are there, by the way, so it's nothing innovative about it. You can literally just copy paste this model into the ML, and it will just start spitting information without you telling it anything. It's smart enough already that it knows that, oh yeah, okay, so those are the ads, this is the time, this is the amount of clicks. I assume that you want me to do this and that. And then you can say, okay, give me next 5 years, and then it gives you next 5 years. Give me which one is the best of all of these, Instagram or Facebook or what, Google or whatever. It will tell you, yeah, in January the Instagram was the best because, well, God knows why. It will spit out something. So that's basically one way of applying it to here, for example, with these ads. Of course, there's an unlimited amount of applications, but this is one I think may be interesting for you. And it's supervised. It means that you need to tag this data that these clicks come in that month from Instagram, Facebook, so it requires a little bit more manual work, polishing, I would say. But then the end results are really good. So what if you don't want to do that one? What if you don't have time or resources to do it? Then you can do the other one, and that's unsupervised one. So basically, you have huge amount of data, and then you just push it in all without doing anything. And then the system will start thinking and trying to make correlations in between all of those things and trying to guess what you would think. Of course, there's a higher risk that it will give you something that you don't like or want. But with a little bit, again, polishing of what kind of a result do you want to get, you can get, again, something similar. So here, I just literally just added bookings. Let's say all the bookings for all the hotels in Norway, let's say. And we just put all the ads that we ever gave for the hotels in Norway, and just give those two informations. Doesn't matter where did you put those ads, doesn't matter what month it was, doesn't matter what hotel it is, just throw it all in. And the system will start from these dots that mean absolutely nothing to us when you look at them. I mean, come on. Then it will start, oh yeah, okay, so these hotel, actually somehow it will start connecting these ads with these months, with these hotels, and you'll start giving you, oh yeah, so the best one was on Instagram, the best one was on Facebook in that month, without you even telling it anything about it. So there it will give you maybe what you need. So those are two ways of machine learning that we could apply here. Concrete is unsupervised and supervised, and I think that the combination of those two is a way to go. But it's nice to know that these things exist. These things are available now. There's a huge amount of companies, and open source projects that you can use to do this right now. So then that was like generally machine learning and some things, but there's something called deep learning that is a subset of machine learning, something that maybe we are more interested today. So what is the deep learning? So basically, when we are doing a programming, we mostly have some kind of a logical statements, like logical if. So for example, if this number is bigger than that number, do this calculation or something like that. It's always like a if else, if else, if else. And that's basically programming in a nutshell. But it requires us, engineers and the huge amount of resources to develop something. So smart people in forever try to mathematically and then eventually now programmatically solve it by trying to replicate our brain. So what we have in our brain would be some kind of small cells that have some synapses in between, like some kind of connections, and then that cell can connect to the other cells, and they can have some clusters and so on, and that's our brain. And then all just sending an electrical signals in between and so on. And so we try to do the same here with the deep learning. We would put some kind of neurons basically, and then which is some kind of information, call it token or whatever, and then we would try to connect all of them with some, and then try to make them some meaningful, and then with some smaller objects eventually that become smaller, and then eventually gives you some kind of a thought, idea, or a product or whatever. So basically, as you can see, what it does is gets a really complex input layer, does a little bit of a processing here, and then it gives you really simple and small output layer. And that's what it does. So why is that deep learning important? Because it gives us something that's called generative AI. So what is generative AI? So one of the types that I think is most interesting for us right now here in Innovasjon Norge is the large language models, and you heard about those, and those are ChatGPT, GPT-4, all of those things that you can actually chat with, and it gives you something. So hence the name generative AI. It generates something. So that's what we're going to focus a little bit more today. And so basically, for the deep learning, there are two models that we need to know about, and we can use them for different tasks. The most important one for us, I still believe, is generative one, but there's also discriminative one, and this is the one that actually does this. And here's a small example of it. Basically, like a discriminative technique will say, here is a picture of a dog. What is it? And it will say, it's a dog. Versus the generative one will say, I want you to make me a picture of the dog, and it makes you actually a picture of a dog. So those are the two of techniques. So how would you use those two? So for example, a discriminative technique would be, we are getting many emails for example, from different countries, and they would like to travel, and the media and so on. There could be a scam there. There could be some malicious people. So you can use discriminative technique to observe your emails and see who is malicious. And it will point, okay, this one is trying to scam you or phish you or something like that, but without you even knowing that. So this technique would be helpful to implement, for example, in those ways, like emails, and so that it blocks you before even, so you don't have to think that much. Because it's much easier to train this AI than train all the people all the time with all the newest technologies and phishing attacks and so on. So this is a technique that would be interesting, I think, to apply to those kind of things. Generative one, what would that be? I'm going to show the demo, but also I'm going to show something interesting here that I have, and that is something that I already did. So let me just show it here. So this is me, and this is me in the So whoever didn't hear it, it's a astronaut riding a horse. So what happened here is that I was working on something interesting with the robots, and eventually we ended up using those robots and artificial intelligence to do those things. The idea was to show how fast their 5G is and their blade service and so on, but eventually it became this interesting thing that everybody was mind blown. So what we did here, what we used here was that we send the voice audio to the robot, and we use the AI to transcribe it and transform it into a text. Then I made some backend where you send that text, and then we use some kind of a technique called stable diffusion, where we actually generate this image from that text that I said and sent it there, and then we show it here in the and it actually was so fast, it was instant. It's just that I was a bottleneck here. I couldn't make it so fast because of the front end, and so it was a little bit slow with the loading screen, but we showed what we needed to show for Telenor, but actually I got really cool video to show what the AI can do. So they had those robots. For a long time, weren't using them that much, and now they can actually use them because now they're actually smart. So that's one way of a generative technique, and so how can we apply it here? So multiple ways. So one of the ways for using the generative technique would be that, for example, if you're an engineer and a programmer and developer, you can use it to help you program and write better code, review that code. For example, like it can much easier find the mistakes in the code much faster than any human can do. It can give, because it has access to all the code on the planet, it can give you some kind of a guidance of what is a good code or what's not, so that the quality of the systems can go really high up. The speed of the development can increase. Developers can be more certain that they will deliver something good, and somehow everybody can be happy. So that's one way. The other way would be that literally you can give it your Excel sheets or your emails or anything that's a little bit boring and you can't do it. You can just draw it in and say, from this Excel sheet, make me another Excel with this and that. And it will actually just take your Excel sheet, do some calculation, and spit you out new Excel sheet, so you don't have to do it. Of course, you should review it because it's and I'll show you why. But it's already there. It's already doing those things. It's already coding good. It's already making your Excels and pictures and answering the emails and so on. For example, I use it for answering the emails, as my Norwegian is not good, and I hate it, and I'm learning it, but can't learn that fast. So when I have to answer somebody, I say it. Here's the English version. Translate, make it more professional, and translate it to Norwegian language. And then it makes it really good. So when I started sending that to people, everybody was praising me, like, "Oh my God, your Norwegian is so good." But right, it's actually it's not. So it's actually this. So yeah. So those are some techniques, and I would like to show one technique that we can start and applying today, and I made a demo for it today. So as all of you know, we're working on this trip planner so just ignore this part here, don't worry, that's not important. Just focus on this one here. So this is not yet public. I mean, it's not in the production. As you can see here, it says localhost 3000. It means it's only on my computer. So but this will be publicly available as a code, and Jörgen will get it, and Jörgen will set it in Innovasjon Norge's GitHub account, so whoever is technical and wants to continue can get the code, so I don't have to talk about it here. But it's here and it exists, and I'm going to show you something cool right now. So we have this Visit Norway page. What we can do here is, like, we can type here, like, where would we like to travel? Oslo. We click Oslo, puts a pin here. We say, I don't know, Bergen, put a Bergen, puts a pin on the Bergen, draws something here and tells you it's far 1,000 kilometers or whatever, and this time and blah blah blah. And then you can say, I would like maybe some attractions, family, fun. You can click those filters, and it's popping some of the things here for you. And then you click, and then you get like, oh yeah, this is a cool museum, and you can add it to a route. So it's like a nice way of, it's something similar to Google Maps. It's just that it's specific for Norway and has that list, and it's a really nice tool. You can share it, and so this is a good ad, so everybody should use it. But what if we would like to apply some AI into this? So what will we do here? So I made something, and I'm just gonna refresh it. Let's see will it work. So this is just a web application, and this is me just writing a small text field, and there's a button called Ask AI. So I would say here like to the AI. So right now, like. Make me a trip from Oslo to Bergen. So in my head, this is some way of the future, I believe, where instead of clicking all of those things and thinking like what would you like to do, for most of the people would be like, make me this trip. Or add like, yeah, I'm a I don't know, artist. I would like to visit the museums or something like that. Give me all the museums like on the route that I can visit, so that I can have fun time traveling, not just going from A to B, but to enjoy the journey. So you can do that like here, and then you can tell to AI like do something, and so the AI is doing something here, and let's see will it work. Yeah, it does work. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. And so basically, like, just to remind you, this is not prepared in advance. I haven't wrote this. There's not predefined things here. There is, however, I gave it some kind of information about some destinations. And then it actually starts recommending randomly. It takes something and says, okay, so hello, I'm a trip assistant. You can make that trip by visiting following attractions, and it gave you a museum and culture park or whatever, and then like you can find some hotel or something like that, and then it's like a next day like you can visit this and that. It gives you some recommendations, and then what I told to this system was that please make me a URL that I can use. So ideally, this would not give you an URL. It would give you a button and say, do you like this? And maybe I can generate the map for you. But in this case, just to simplify it a little bit, give me the URL here. And what it does was it generated something here. I mean, it's gibberish, so we don't know what it is. But we're going to copy this now, and we're going to paste it in that map. And let's see what will happen. I already know what will happen. These things don't exist because those are false IDs. So I can remove those two and then just leave these here. I know that because I made all of those APIs and I know all the IDs. So, but just one thing before I click is important, is that this demo is a nice demo. It's not something that you should do and use, by the way. And but this demo as well shows that the AI cannot be trusted yet, because it hallucinates a lot. And what it does is you guide it in a way that you want it to do. So in the backend, I said you should divide this into the two parts and give me some attractions here and some attractions on the next day and something like that. And it follows those things. But let's say with these IDs here, I told it specifically, like I only want IDs that are called rec ID. I don't want to have the IDs that have the only IDs. And it still didn't listen to me, and it still added those two. So this can be prevented by a technique called fine tuning. You can always fine tune it. You can always fix it and make it better. But we have to be aware that it makes mistakes, no matter how smart it is, no matter how much information, and no matter how much you're explicit with it. So this would never happen to a coder. To a coder, you give a specific command to a machine and executes it only one way. But AI can execute it in a limited amount of ways. So that's something that we have to think about. But generally, it's almost as good as it should be. So let's give it a try with this URL, because it always gives me different text, different URLs. So I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm just going to remove those two because I know 100% they are not right. So if we would to kill this and do this and just remove those two. So we would accept that it will make us a route from Oslo to Bergen. So let's see what it did. Yeah, it did make some kind of a route, but the order is wrong. And we're not traveling from Oslo, but from above Oslo. But at least it is Bergen. Almost Bergen. Yeah. But you can see here the gist of it, that actually it can generate something. And if we were to go here on the left side, you can see, yeah, so it actually thinks that the last one is a Bergen, because in our APIs, this belongs to the Bergen, maybe commune or something like that. And yeah, so whatever this is. And but as you can see, it's like close. And just remember that I made this yesterday in one day. So this is not optimized. This is not good at all. And I'm not recommending anybody to use this code. But however, it shows it's possible. It shows that we can do it. And it shows that it's applicable to what we already have. So it's not something that it's in the future and we maybe need to start thinking about it. No, it's here. It's here. So we can do it now. And
can I ask you a question, please?
Absolutely.
This is interesting. And will it be possible to sort of make a default that the first thing that come up will always be the most sustainable choice?
Absolutely. So right now is that your question is more related to the map itself and the APIs and the architecture of it, not AI that much. AI itself doesn't possess those informations. Like let's call it that large language model. It possesses a lot of information that it's trained on, but we don't know, is it trained on the traveling and the green things and so on. So basically, then we have two ways of dealing with the things. And that's really a good question, and I wanted to say something about it, but good that you asked. So we can have our model, and we can train that model. That means that we use some set of data, we train it, and then we get another set of data, new hotels, new whatever, and then we need to train it again, or add additional training to it, or fine-tune it. The problem with that is that it requires you to prepare the data for it. It requires a huge amount of processing power to train it again, and then you can say to the AI without any external factors, can you please make me a route from Oslo to Bergen, and it has to be the greenest one, and it will do it 100%. But the amount of training behind it, it's insane. So I chose something else. I didn't choose that. So I chose the LLM that I'm using right now here today is OpenAI. That's a ChatGPT one. It's called ChatGPT 3 Turbo or whatever. And of course, the ChatGPT doesn't know our application here, doesn't know our IDs, doesn't know anything. So what I do is, it's called embeddings. So I embed some more information to it in real time. So I'm not training it, I'm not fine-tuning it. I have my own system that does many things in behind the scene, and then just gives the AI what AI needs. So what does that mean? So here, currently, I took Visit Norway has its own APIs. I took the data from the API manually, and then I set that data into a database called vector database, which is something new, and you don't have to know about it, but it's something like super mind-blowing, because those vector databases are multidimensional, and we can't understand what multidimensional means because we only have 3 dimensions plus at a time. So anyway, and then I store it there, and I use semantic search. So before I give it to the AI, I made my own system of semantic understanding what's Bergen, what's Oslo, and what's in between. And then I take those informations, that's like a first layer of logic and intellect, and then I feed it to the AI, and then the AI gives us this. So to answer the question is, it is possible as long as we make that system that I made right now a little bit more smart. So that means that we would need to give it information that it needs from Visit Norway or some other API. It doesn't matter, like Entur or whoever has those APIs. And then we need to feed it in real time to the AI, which will actually then feed it into our system here. And absolutely possible, and absolutely something we should do. So we were thinking about it regarding the AI to add buttons here with it. You can use the public transport and instead of your car, because right now it's just a car. So, but that's something more related to our systems and what we have to do before we feed it to the AI. Of course, AI can learn eventually from it, and then we don't have to do anything. But as of now, this is the best way. We prepare it all, and then AI is just there to make it nice, and so that you feel, valuable, and it writes it nicely, and does this, that, blah, blah, blah. So yes, and that is a demo. I think you like it. I think it showed, actually, it's here, and we can use it. And the source code for this will be available, so it means that you can start using it if you want straight away, but I don't recommend it yet. Because it requires a lot of architecture, it can be abused. So for example, like if we allow this AI chat publicly on Visit Norway, let's say, somebody can say, make me a bomb, and then they will use it. Or some kids will use it for do the homework. They want to use it for here. So it requires a little bit guiding and setting up architecture and what it should do and what it should not do before you give it this power to create the maps and so on. So, but other than that, I think it's ready. I mean, it's there, so it could be possible. And so that was my demo time. Not again. Every time I click the wrong button. So basically, this is what I was talking about. Like, we can train it with the data. We need a large input data. We need to model that architecture, so somebody has to sit and think about it. And then we have to choose a learning algorithm, and then we have to fine tune it, and then we then feed it with lazy data. If we want, we have to do it all over again, and so on, and then it's expensive to train. However, the other technique that I recommended, which I'm using, is that this embeddings, like you'll have your own system, and then that system is connected to the AI, and then two of them are working really nicely, and it's much cheaper. No cost. You don't train, you don't do anything, but eventually it can become expensive because of the storage, and so there's that thing called cloud, and then scaling and redundancy, and that you have to think about. But that also can be optimized, so it will be fine. And yeah, that's all. So now I planned to have a brainstorming session, in the sense that whoever has questions or ideas, or maybe doesn't know, like, what can AI do for them, now is your time. So yes.
I was thinking about one thing in the model you presented.
Yes.
It depends on who I am. The answers
Correct.
I get.
Yes.
So when I go from Oslo to Bergen, for
Yes.
instance, according to who I am,
Yes.
I would like different choices.
Correct.
And that's the kind of
Yes.
questions relates to who you ask.
Exactly.
And how does it take care of that?
So-
How is it possible?
Yes.
Because you can't build that, you have to build that on the
Yes. So let's say like this. In Visit Norway API right now, or let's call it database, doesn't matter. We already have the list of all museums, restaurants, and all of those different things, let's say. And AI is smart enough to understand what's the difference between the restaurant and what's between the hotel, let's say. So you, when you talk with it, you can say this: I am I don't know, a person that likes to hike, and recommend me something about the hiking. The system will understand who you are. It will go in the database. It will find everything related to hiking, and then maybe it will ask you a question, but where do you like to hike? You say, I live near Oslo. Okay, here's around Oslo everything you want like to have. So the system, so there's a thing called semantics. That's like understanding of the meaning of the words. And those LLMs are made for that. They're made to understand the semantics. What do you mean behind it? So whatever you write it, I feel that I would like to do this or that on this place or that place, it will understand. And it just needs the data, which we already have in the database. In Visit Norway, there's like 50,000 already listings. And it just goes and picks some of them. And also it's good because you can tell it to randomly pick something, so it doesn't favor anybody. So everybody gets equal chance. Absolutely. And you can, so I showed you right now, but I could tell the AI, I don't like it, change it. Give me some other destinations. Or I don't want to overnight, I would just want 5 of them. It will still understand, and it will still give you whatever from the database. So it's possible.
I think, can I add something?
Yes.
I think what differs a lot from the technology we normally use in those kind of applications is that the more detailed the question is, the better the answer comes, right?
Yes.
So that you normally just have to deal with a long list, but now you can really specify. I want to travel from Oslo to Bergen. I'm going to bring my kids. They normally like this and this.
More conversation.
Where
conversation.
would you suggest I should stop to make it a journey, not just a travel? And then you get the answer. So I think the possibilities are so big. I think we have some hands here, but
yes. And just to add that even if you are not sure, like you don't know how to use it, this is the first time you saw it, just the text, like what am I going to do? We can always set it up so that it asks you questions. So it's like a dialogue, and then it will guide you into what do you want.
you personalize the filter,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, it personalizes it for you. And just remember this, you have the most patient person on the other hand, on the other side. Yeah, that you can ask whatever you want as many times as you want, variations, whatever, it doesn't matter. And also there are other ways, more complicated ways, but we can use the cookies and the behavior that maybe you already did before. And based on that, we can estimate who you are and then start giving you some recommendations, something like that. That's another option.
Yeah,
But
because if
yeah.
I'm a vegetarian, I'm
Absolutely.
environmentally concerned.
Yeah.
All these things I
Yeah.
care about help me
Yes.
But it
choose.
demands quite a lot of the information on the in the front end, in the other side.
I mean, it can't read our minds, so it requires something. But as I said, there are ways of getting those, maybe from your browser, maybe from whatever you clicked before, or the problem is that there are already systems that know you. Those are advertising systems. And they know, are you vegetarian or whatever, so they got that information in an ethical way, mostly. And because, without you even consenting or knowing that it's possible, but I wouldn't go in that direction. I would rather give it some information and,
We have a question from Evgenia.
Yes.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for a very good presentation.
Pleasure.
Wow. Just a quick question about the system. Do I understand it correctly? We have like both the embed and the learning, or are we now at the crossroad what to choose? Just to make it clear in my head.
We have, so everything is there. We can train it or we can embed it, or we can use the combination of both of those. So it doesn't matter. Eventually it ends up on the, I believe, on the cost and the resources with the people and so on. And also, if you would like to learn, then that means that you will never have the latest data in it. So if you're not worried about the latest data in it, if you're not a bank or something like that, then maybe, learning is fine. But if you really want to have something latest and greatest always available, then maybe embed it and use already trained models like GPT or Lambda or BARD, or there's like a limited amount of them. And then you just give them connections to your databases and the data, and they will handle it for you.
Yeah, but another question is, like we were saying, okay, we have 5,000 listings there, if not more.
Yeah.
But it is shit in, shit out, if it is not labeled correctly.
Yes.
Like we've seen on our on the latest article about horses, when a mountain called Horse was also mentioned as one of the horse riding activities.
Yeah.
Because somebody was too too excited to label it as horse
Mm.
in the system. So we still have this, like with our own. It's not our, since it's not our own data. We have the listings, but it's not our data.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
not actually have control.
Mm.
It's the destination companies and how the providers actually put it in and label it. So there is still this.
Yeah.
Have you thought about it? How to address it?
Yes. So I had that problem yesterday when I was trying to make these work, and I realized that all the listings were not ordered, so you wouldn't know where is what on the map and so on. Yes, you have the coordinates, but there is no order, and the system couldn't guess that. But also there was no telling what is the museum, what is. There was only some IDs, and they mean nothing. So I got to that problem. You have then two options. You can try to clean the data and make it better by using AI. By the way, so it's almost impossible for a human to go and fix those 5,000 or find few that are bad. But you can say to the AI, like, here's all 5,000 of them, and there is a issue that some of them could be misclassified or something like that. And then, can you please show me those? And then we come to that one of those things that I showed that actually can, discriminative is actually can tell you, oh yeah, maybe you should take a look at this one and maybe change it, or I can do it for you. So that's one of the techniques that already exist that we can use. And the other one would be that we don't do that, we do it on the fly. So we say, give me all of those links and all of those things, but just remember that some of them may be misclassified. So if you think something is wrong, just ignore them or something like that. Or send me an email, but don't show it to an end user. Don't show it on the map or something like that. So you can do both. But just remember that everybody on this planet, every company and every database has a limited amount of wrong things. So those are the things that we have to consider anyway, regardless of listings or not. That's how it works. So that's something.
Wrong today in the old technology. So.
Exactly. So because we are human, we make mistakes, and that was always like that, and it will always be like that. So it's a good question, but there are ways of handling it. Some are a little bit more simple or some more complex, but then again, it ends up to the architect or whoever is trying to find the balance between the cost and the benefit and so on. But it's possible.
Okay, then Sandra has a question.
I don't know if Christina had something to do with this, maybe. You can go before me, Christina, if it's connected to this, with the listings and the... No, okay.
You can just go.
Okay. So, I have a question, and it's regarding my day-to-day work.
Yes.
I'm handling about 20 to 40 different retargeting campaigns each year. And we do these campaigns together with partners. And partners is destinations or hotel chains and so on. And one of the most asked questions from our clients, our partners, is what are the key factors for success? And the model for our retargeting campaigns are pretty simple, and it's almost the same for everyone. But there are many variations of external factors that kind of affects the results. So the answer for me is very general, like, okay, we know that videos create a lot of traffic, or we know that good pictures, and we know, the general stuff. We of course recommend them to take action and to do. But if I were to put in some of the data that I have, APIs, results, kind of material, placements and things like that, could this system generate some kind of answer for me to say that, okay, this is what we see works best if you want traffic, or if you want awareness, or if you want conversions or actions. But would it be time efficient for me to do that instead of putting all of that into an Excel sheet and then trying to read it myself? What would you say about that?
So I would say that first it's possible, and the tool that I would use is called the GPT-4, because with that tool you can actually add it multi-layer of different type of documents. So just to answer you on this, like, do I need to put it all into the Excel file and waste time on that? The answer is no, you don't have to do that. You can get any information from anywhere and just start throwing them into the GPT-4. You don't need to do anything special about it. You just like drag and drop in like as many as you want, as many as are acceptable, and then you can just say you can give your a guideline like what is important and so on, and it can cross-reference it by itself from those documents that you have. Which one were they complying to and which were they not? And it will give you a really nice report at the end, which will say, okay, here are our recommendations, but based on whatever I saw right now, you haven't implemented these, and if you would, then you would get these and these benefits. And it would be really nice to get it. I already use that in GPT-4, hence I can say to you that it works. And it's already there, and it's super efficient and super fast. It doesn't have to be 100% correct, but again, it depends on what you're feeding it in, what kind of a data. And if you see it's not correct, maybe you can fix some of that data, maybe label it nicely or something like that. But I think you would be surprised with that. And it's already available today, and it's called GPT-4. So.
Okay, but
Yeah.
Adnan, if I want
Yes.
to do it tomorrow,
Yes.
and I have never ever used this technique before,
Yes.
how can I get the help that I need?
Two ways. One way is the hard way. You have to learn it, so there's no other way. The second way is you have to find somebody who can mentor you, like me or somebody who works with that, and that person can help you. So those are the two ways. But it's super simple. I mean, when I say I'm sorry, but when it's super simple for me because but it's not hard. It's just that requires you to train yourself a little bit with it. Because it will give you a lot of things that you don't want, and then you have to find your own niche way how to make it work, personalized in what you actually want and expect. It's try and fail, but there's nothing technical about it, at least. So you don't have to write code, you don't have to do anything. It's mostly you write some prompts. That's how you structured some, like a question, and that's basically all the magic it is, like those prompts. And then what the data you're feeding it. So it's like, maybe if it doesn't work with this Excel file, what can I change in that Excel file so it works? But once you find a way, that's it forever. Then you just use all the same things all over again, and then it becomes like you don't have to think about it. It's just like an automated thing that you can even automate it. So, by the way, I haven't mentioned this, but I know many of you are using like a Teams or Outlook or Gmail or I don't know, whatever. There are ways already that you can use like some kind of a middleware tool called Zapier, which actually can connect your, let's say, ChatGPT through that Zapier to your Teams or to your Outlook or to your Office package, which has all the Excel files. And literally then you don't even have to drag and drop. You don't have to upload anything. You just say, there is a file with that name and has that kind of information, give it to me or do something with it, and it just does it. So yes, you have to pay for all of those services, but they're not that expensive.
Sorry
Yeah.
to go into details there.
Yeah, no problem.
Very short, but we have, reports from all of these 80 campaigns that we've run for 2
Yep.
years. Would that be enough data? It's like PDF or PowerPoints or even Excel diagrams. Can I just put them all in, and that would be maybe a first try to see
Yeah.
if that's enough?
So it depends. So you have to understand that these large language models have their limitations, and those limitations are in an amount of the tokens. So that means that you can't just take everything you have and just throw it in, because it will hit the limit. And what does it do? It basically it will take that data, it will transform it into a text, and then it will measure how long that text is, and based on how long the text is, it will give you those limitations. So for example, it would be possible maybe to do it for one company, because maybe it has only a couple of files, whether it's Excel or whatever, PowerPoint, doesn't matter. It will eventually convert them all into a text, so it doesn't matter what the file is. But it has a limit of like, I don't know, 50,000 tokens, which is like, I don't know, maybe equal to 100 pages of words. And that's your limit. So then you have to do it like personalized for every company itself. But then you can automate the process. So when I say 100,000 tokens or something like that, that's only in one go. It's not total. So basically you can automate it and say, for this company, for this company, for this company, and do it sequentially. And then you start uploading one by one. But that it requires a little bit more of a logic, how should you do it. So it's not as easy as you're going to solve it all tomorrow. Okay. So don't get me wrong, but it's a good start. And if you want, I'm still here. I don't know where do you sit, but I'll still be here next week.
Next week,
yes.
Sandra, that's your chance.
That's your chance. If I'm allowed, you can come to me and yeah, we can talk.
To run you 5 seconds because I have 1 minute before I have to go to
Okay.
the next meeting.
Yep.
So I just thank you so much, Anna, for the whole work you've done with the route planner. I'm not going to be here
My
next
pleasure.
week, and for your ideas, I love them, and I think we should definitely dig more into this. And there's a lot of possibilities. Also, thinking like you can use a sort of ChatGPT inside the. Based on all the data we have 15,000 listings and articles, so maybe we could train it to give you like a personalized travel article, complete
yes,
with all
absolutely.
the listings and get you into this.
Mm.
So I guess it's a very good presentation. So I would just say thank you very much, and
My pleasure.
we'll keep digging into this and hope that we can learn more from you in the future as well. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Time's up. That was really interesting, and I also have some questions, but I'll see you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, if those questions are something that everybody can learn, maybe you can ask them now if you want.
I just want to say, we need to be careful what we are pushing data into ChatGPT now without, because if you're going to send company data, we need to go through Azure service via OpenAI.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we can't just go to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Just,
of course.
So no, everyone doesn't go out. But,
Yeah.
Feeding
every
company data.
Absolutely.
Especially when the data can be connected to a concrete partner and can be used against and so on. So that's Sandra.
Yes. So the OpenAI has its enterprise license, which actually
we have it. So
you have.
So
there you go.
If there is some use case,
Yeah.
just come and we will take a look at it.
Yeah. Good.
And we also get, I think, or at least Microsoft is having this implementation of AI as well in Excel and all that by default soon. So
Yeah.
it's in beta now.
That's true.
So,
Yeah.
I think that can help a lot as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was interested also to know a bit more about how we could use AI to process big data. You know, many layers like the guest nights and the campaigns and the put the different layers on top to understand patterns, correlations, and also be able to predict on behalf of everything we know, both about the travel and when the bookings are done and what activities we have in the markets.
Yeah, others are doing that. For example, like a Netflix, when they want to recommend you, they use those machine learning things. Spotify, so it's the same system that they are using, should be used here, and there are different tools and the ways. The only issue is that they require a skill set for that. So you would need to have a person, actually, your team dedicated to it, to make those algorithms, to choose the best possible algorithm for that specific case, and to fine tune it in case it goes a little bit offside or something like that, because you don't want wrong data, and it will give you wrong data. So you have to be careful about that. But it's possible, and tools are already here. It's just that somebody needs to architect it and implement it. So, we can talk more about it concrete which tools would be good. So maybe you can have at least some kind of a fundament for
just to
the
know
future.
What what kind of direction we should move to do that, because there are so much data about travel to and in Norway, and we don't manage to see how it all fits together.
Absolutely, yeah. And the AI would be perfect for
We
that.
want to take part of everything that we know in the different reports and everything we have, put it together to be able to understand better how it's correlated and what are the patterns and how can we use it to predict if you do this, this will happen.
Yeah,
if you do this,
absolutely.
this will happen. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, great.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
My pleasure.
Adnan.
Oh, and
This made it much more clear to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Good.
Nice.
because I started at nothing.